Hello everyone. So welcome to my talk. Thank you so much for being here, for making to this day. So today we're going to talk about pigs and how to draw pigs, and hopefully at the end it will make sense. So how drawing pigs create commercial advantage. So that's me. So I'm the founder and CEO of Akuva. I've been working in internet industry for around 30 years plus, in e-commerce specifically for over 2 decades. I started in 2001 as a CTO of a company called Venda, probably the first SaaS e-commerce platform sold to NetSuite. And then I went to work as a CTO for various online retailers such as Yux and Alex and Alexa. And that's where the idea for my fourth startup came from, Akuva, because that was a service I wanted myself as a CTO of online retailers and I couldn't find. So I thought, what the heck, I'm gonna create it. And now we serve these wonderful supreme brands. So hopefully now they get the service and the quality of service and solution that I wanted myself when working for those companies. So let's start. You should have this leaflet. Either you will find it inside a notepad, or you've been handed out leaflet outside. Okay, I will ask you to draw a pig, and I mean it. Draw a pig, any way you like it. Okay, doesn't matter if you're good at drawing or not. Just try. I'll give you 40 seconds to do that. Okay, now to give you an incentive. Okay. If you draw the pigs and then later on you hand over your leaflet to the Akuva stand, which is at the beginning of the marketplace where the red carpet is, we will then do a prize draw, and you can win. There are 3 Jeroboam champagne, those big bottles of champagne that you can win, so you can be a lucky winner. But before we start, I'd also like to have 4 people from the audience coming here and draw their pigs on these big parts. And then I would like to show your drawing to the people. Don't be ashamed, don't worry. It's, you don't have to be good. If all you can draw is stick pigs, that's fine. Can I have 4 people? Come in, thank you. Good. Come on, 2 more. Yes. Oh, there are so many people. Come on. Come here. Only 2 more. Come on. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so please have a seat. Here's your pad. Inside you have your, yeah. Don't worry. You can participate on the draw. You can draw that. So first of all, you can all get your pads. That's it. There you go. Okay. The first draw would be, you will be using a plain paper, please. You will use the grid after. Yes, a pen paper. Yeah, you can draw that. You will use the grid later on. Okay, excellent. Okay, so get the part of the leaflet where there is no grid, just a blank white page, and draw your pig. So you have 40 seconds, okay? Ready, steady, go. Okay, time is out. Well done. So, now look around and compare your pigs. And actually, if you can show your pigs, if you can stand up, please. Yeah, and show your pigs. They've actually been very good, I must say. Very impressed. These are the pigs. So if you compare, do they look like each other? They look like a bear. It's good. Okay, so which pig is the right pig, do you think? Difficult to say, but they're really good. That's very cute. Okay, now we'll do the same. Look at the back of the leaflet, and you will have a space with a grid. Okay? You should have a page with a grid here as well. Yeah, take that one. Okay, now before you draw the pig, I will give you some instructions. Easy instructions. You can sit down. Thank you. And now we will be drawing the pig that the customers want. Okay? Not just any pig. Now, and again, you have 40 seconds to do that. Now, here are the instructions. Okay? As you can see, number one, you draw a capital M. Can you see that? Yeah. You can stand up and look at that if you want. Then, on the number 2 and number 3, you draw a capital W. Not yet, yeah? When I give you the time, you go. I'm just giving you some simple instructions. Then, what you do, from the M, you draw this bar line until the intersection of the grid, and then you continue until the W, and then you connect the two W's, and you can see it's quite self-explanatory, okay? And at the end, you will have your curly Q and the 2 dots for the nose, okay? So these are the instructions. I'll leave the instructions here, and you can follow them. You ready to start? Go. Make sure you follow the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Okay, well done. 40 seconds is now over, okay? Are they any better? Okay, you have it's okay, you have the mouth, the eye, and the curly Q, okay? It's okay, but it's okay. You didn't follow the instructions. Okay, are they any better? Can you show your pigs to everyone? Okay, but they look much more similar. That's great. Okay. Now, thank you so much for your help. And please don't forget to hand over the leaflet to the Akuva stand so you can win the Jerobomb of champagne. Now, what I gave you were standardized work instructions, okay? And those are designed to make sure that a process is consistent, timely, repeatable, and most importantly, no matter who performs them. Anyone can follow those instructions, whether you're good at drawing or not good at drawing. Now, why is this important? Because this is the most effective and efficient way to deliver value to customers. Now, imagine you go to a restaurant. Would you go back to the same restaurant if every time you go there, and you order the same meal, that meal tests differently? Probably not. But now let's move on to something a little bit more serious than a restaurant. Arthur Gawande is a surgeon. He's been publishing different books. He used to be a professor at the Harvard Medical School. And what he realized, what he noticed, is that not only him, but many of his colleagues, even if they were good surgeons, very well skilled, they made lots of mistakes. The reason for that is because healthcare is complex, and it's becoming more complex. And it doesn't matter how good you are, you can make mistakes, okay? And he wrote this book, the Checklist Manifesto. The reason for that, he thought, hold on a moment, why is that airplane pilots, for example, use checklists? And that's a key part of their job, to follow those checklists. Why is it surgeons don't do that? They should do it. And the reason why they should do it, it's here. And that's why it's very important. We're lucky we're dealing with e-commerce. No one dies if you make a mistake. But can you guess what the 3 leading causes of death are in the US? The first one is heart disease. The second one, you're absolutely right, is cancer. And the third one are medical mistakes. I'm not joking. Between 250,000 people and 440,000 people every year dies in US for medical mistakes. And at least half of them are preventable, because surgeons do not want to use checklists, standardized work. They're overconfident. People pay the price for that. Now, standard work is a key element, is a foundation for Lean. Now, Lean takes years to understand. I've been practicing Lean for almost 2 decades, and I'm still learning. But I'll give you a very brief introduction. What is Lean? Lean means creating more value for customers with fewer resources. A Lean organization understands customer value and delivers it through a value creation process that has 0 waste, or at least trying to. One of Akuva's advisors, Dan Jones, co-author, is an advisor and investor as well, co-authored a book called The Machine That Changed the World in 1990, in which he introduced the concept of Lean by describing the Toyota production system. That's where Lean comes from Toyota. And this was the start of a Lean revolution that inspired the transformation of many companies in different industries. Many, from Tesco, Amazon, many banks, Boeing, Heathrow, health service, and so on. Now, standard work is one of the cornerstones of Lean, we said. The reason for that is because standard work provides the baseline for continuous improvement. A continuous improvement, also known as Kaizen, is the foundation of Lean. Problem solving is also key, because problem solving enables the continuous improvement and innovation. Now, I will try to bring together the standardized work, continuous improvement, and problem solving, because they all play together. Okay, they all play a part. So, as you can see here, here is the standard. Like, for example, the instructions I gave you for drawing the pig. That's the standard process. Now, if you fall below the standard, you have a problem. Okay? And you then have 4 types of problems and 4 types of way of solving those problems. So if you fall in below the standard, you will apply type 1 and type 2 problem solving. We will go through that in more details. If you instead want to increase your standard, raise your standard, you might want to do it because, well, you have competitors. Competitors will, trying to get better than you. You can't just keep going as you are right now. You will have to improve. Then you will use 2 different types of problem solving, type 3 and type 4. Now let's get into more details. All of those 4 types of problem have something in common, and it's how you start approaching the problem. The first thing you do, and that's absolutely critical, you ask yourself this question. It doesn't matter how big or small the problem is. What problem are you trying to solve? How many times have you found yourself or other people trying to jump to a solution without really understanding what they're dealing with in the first place? Ask yourself this question: what problem are you trying to solve? It sounds an obvious question, but it's key. So here are the 4 types of problem solving or problems, and we go through each one of them. So type 1, troubleshooting. So type 1 problems arise on their own. Okay, they will knock on your door, and you don't need to find them because they will find you. Okay, the problem will find you in the kind of form of a customer complaint, in the form of an incident, of a problem. Okay, and it requires quick thinking to protect the customer so you can quickly get back to where you should be on your standard. Okay, so it's a kind of firefighting. There is no root cause analysis here. Just get back to normal as quickly as you can. If done effectively, troubleshooting can lead to stability. However, if failing to get the root cause of the problems, which we will look at it later on the second slide, then you will end up into a cycle of firefighting, and that's not where you want to be. Okay. Now, let's be clear. Some degree of type 1 problem is unavoidable. It's just part of life of any business. So don't try to not have it, because it will always be there. Just make sure you don't have too much of it. Okay? Then we move to the second type, type 2, gap from standard. So now you manage to contain the situation, quickly go back to standard with type 1, but you don't know what happened. Okay? So gap from standard type 2 problem takes us from treating the symptom, which is what you've done with type 1, to finding the cause of the problem. It solves persistent problems, either recurring for a customer or affecting many customers. Often type 1 troubleshooting is not enough to stop a problem from reoccurring, and a more structured approach, a more in-depth analysis is required, okay, to get to the root cause of the problem. And the objective here is to prevent the problem from happening again, okay, so that you can go back to your standard for good. Now, this is the type 3, target condition. Now, as if you remember from that initial chart, that's where we go above the line, okay? Now, this is usually referred as Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. And target condition type 3 problem solving goes beyond the current standard. Okay? Now we start setting a new target condition. The difference here is that the customer is not complaining, and but you raise the bar to avoid complacency. And in a way, you create the problem. You actually create the problem. You set the standard, and then you try to find out how to get there. The methods and the discipline required are similar to type 2 problems, or like root cause analysis, that kind of things. The only difference from that is that there is not root cause to find or fix. It requires a deep reflection, a full understanding of the current state, a very well-defined target state, target condition, and a way to get from here to there. Okay? Now, that's very important, because if you go through a series of Kaizen, a series of continuous improvement, they compound massively, and they can lead to a transformational results. And then, at the end, we have type 4 open-ended problems solving, commonly referred to as innovation. In fact, people think of innovation as something totally out there that only a few people can do, but actually innovation is simply problem solving. That's what it's all about. It has much in common with type 3 problem solving that we've seen before. The difference is that on type 3 you define the target condition. On type 4 you don't define the target condition. You don't know what the target condition is like. It's open-ended. You need to be open to experimentation. You experiment, and you have to be open and willing to accept new ideas. Okay? And often the result of this are new products, new services, creating an overall new experience, very different from what it was before. Oh, sorry. So, we do cloud hosting. Problem solving is not cloud hosting. It's not just a technology. Nothing to do with it. Problem solving is an organization, a human skill. Okay? It's not technology. It's about people. Problem solving is about people, because people solve problems. Cloud doesn't solve any problem. Okay? And it takes time to build a capability needed to solve different problems in different situations. How do we master problem solving? Well, the capability I was telling you about is built through on-the-job learning and coaching. It's learned by doing, not by reading books or else. You need to do, you need to practice. This is why it's also important to even be good at firefighting, type 1 problem solving, because they will build the muscle. The practice will then allows you to go to type 2 problems, and the more of type 2 problems you do, you can go to type 3 problems, and then the more of it you do, you will be more capable of innovating and deal with type 4 problems. So why learn by doing? Because you don't think yourself into a new way of acting, you act yourself into a new way of thinking. I repeat, you cannot think yourself into a new way of acting. You can act yourself into a new way of thinking. What does it mean? It means that the practice of daily improvement develops a new way of thinking, not the other way around. That's important. So whatever you do, when you want to make a leap, you want to make an improvement, take an action. Don't overthink it, okay? If you keep taking those actions, they will change your thinking. So where do I start? Now, if you're interested in lean thinking for your organization or yourself, well, the obvious question is, where do I start? Now, I don't have an answer for that, because lean is the pursuit of perfect value creation and delivery of that value to the customer with zero waste. You won't achieve it, but it's a pursuit, you're trying to. And the essence of lean is continuous improvement. Therefore, what's important in lean is not about the first step to get to learn it, it's about the next step. Because you will go through a journey, a very long journey of learning, and you will always be thinking about what is the next step, okay? I hope that this all makes sense, and now you understand why standard work is important. You can probably think about that yourself in your organization, how they place together with continuous improvement and problem solving. And now, I didn't mention the elephant in the room, but the likes of Amazon, Tesco, Zara, Uniqlo, that's what they do. Nike, they do this, they do lean, they apply lean thinking. Now, you probably know you haven't heard about it too much because they don't say that. And I think the reason why they don't say that, because that's such a competitive advantage for them. Why should they share that with you? But lean methodology, lean thinking is not just for big companies. It can apply to anyone, small companies, and that really can make you competitive. Now, as I was coming, I was on the train, I was reading some news actually, and it was interesting. We all know that there is a problem with supply chain, for example, right? Supply chain is becoming a problem for many merchants. And there is a recent study, research that they made, and they analyzed 38 different logistic flows of 3 major logistic companies. And what they found out, they found out that 40% of those processes used by those logistic companies is utter waste, complete waste, unnecessary, 40%. The most interesting part is that the people working at the logistic companies, they didn't know about it. They couldn't see the waste that they were creating and generating themselves. The reason why they can't see the waste, now they didn't say that, but I know that. The reason why they couldn't see the waste is because they didn't have standard work. If you don't have standard work, you cannot see the waste. The only way to see the waste is by having standard procedures, standard work. Then you know when you're falling below that or not, okay? KPIs will not help you. KPIs just give you some numbers. They lead indicators, made of averages. They won't be able to tell you when things are going wrong and where exactly things are going wrong. But if you know your process well, you will find out. So the other takeaway here, trying to focus less on the results and focus more on the processes, because the results are a byproduct of those processes. Okay, and that's all for me.